Cool. Let me see. I'm recording myself too. Okay, so Sonia, did you want to open up? Did you want me to open up?
Well, I just want to say, Jen, thank you so much. I was when you sent over the list for your client list, I was calling it the client cheat sheet for sleep. A lot of good stuff in there, so I'm excited to share with everyone your findings. And some of those I've tried, and some I hadn't been as tuned into. So
Mhm.
I'm curious now to go back and see if they work for me, especially and at the end, if we have time to talk about the menopausal insomnia
Yeah.
that I've experienced. And I may just have another session just on that.
Yeah,
So,
the whole
so
nother.
welcome.
So hi. Hello. So all right. Should I start?
Yeah, so let me ask you this. What made you first start to or see the importance of creating this sort of document for your clients?
Oh man, because sleep is such a big thing that I've seen in myself and other people. So everything in my guidebook is made because someone needs it. There's at least one person or multiple people that really, really need this, and I know it's going to help. And really, the main treatment that doctors give for sleep is some type of benzodiazepine and cognitive behavioral therapy, some type of CBTI, which talking is great. It's part of it. We got to talk and vent and maybe even connect with our paid therapist, which is weird. Nice to connect with people unpaid and paid, right? And then benzos have the side effects, and there's so many more things to do. It's quite irresponsible to just prescribe those two things. And there's so many things that I do that are magical, like just eating rice before bed. That's one of the things, or
I saw that.
it's such a funny, weird one. And I have a lot of people doing that now, and it works.
Wow.
So I had to make this list because it's tragic what some of the recommendations I've heard are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a very extensive list. I love it. And then for after we go through this, to really encourage everyone to really test it out for themselves and see what works for them. It's a little trial and error. And what I found, I always like to try things on myself before I recommend them anyway. So giving it a certain amount of time to allow my body to acclimate to that new thing that I'm including in my regimen. And really,
Mhm.
um, I think in your document too, you called it you designated a time. Your like bedtime regimen or
Oh, yeah.
something.
There's like rest time. I compartmentalize the day. I've been doing that for 2 years now, where it's
Okay.
like, all right, we have time where we're active and we're interacting with people or creating, whether it's stand-up comedy or a movie or clients or a puzzle, whatever. And then there's time to rest and not interact. And I separate the time very with
I
a
love that.
it helps so much,
Hmm.
especially during this pandemic time too. If you're people that are paying attention to the news, a lot of it's very negative. So I think it's very important to designate certain amount of times and be very strict because you burn
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
Well, let's get into it. I
All right,
mean,
cool. All right. So one thing is that if you have depression, insomnia might be your number one cause. It might be the total cause. Who knows? So right now, this talk is a piecemeal. We're gonna piecemeal together. I'm gonna throw out a lot of different suggestions for fixing insomnia, fixing your sleep, getting to sleep possibly earlier or going to sleep faster. Even if you got home at 12 or 1 or 2, it's not early, but you want to get to sleep. Here's some ways to go, whoo, sleep and maybe stay asleep longer. It's very important. So this is a crash course. A lot of the things are not good for you. Some will be good. And these are some suggestions. And everyone's going to need different ones. And some of you won't need any of them. All right. Uh, all right. Here we're going to go. We're going to go from topic to topic. One, melatonin. Was just going over this. I was just asked this last week or someone suggested melatonin. So a lot of people, they do well with melatonin. They suggest melatonin. I do not. A lot of people do not. Yeah, you don't either. So melatonin is not a good hypnotic, aka a sleeping pill to get you to sleep. It's really, it depends on the time of day and light. It's affected by light. As you can see, the lighting here, I have all candlelight. As soon as the sun goes down, I put up salt lamps and LED lamps. And then this light is a little brighter than I usually like, but it's okay. It's acceptable. And that helps melatonin, it still stifles melatonin production, but supposedly around 9 o'clock, our brains start releasing melatonin. Now, taking the pill does not work for me. I wake up groggy. It's often part of a stack of sleep supplements, which may work, and if you wake up groggy, a quick tip, you look into the sunlight and it helps to dissolve, just colloquially speaking, the melatonin, and helps alert with wakefulness, because melatonin's are about wakefulness and circadian rhythms and light and dark. It's not really a knock you out type of thing. Benzodiazepines are. So if melatonin doesn't work for you, that it's very common. I don't like it. All right, I'm going to jump to one that's not on the list, and we can print some of the pages. Cleansing people energy. This is one that's kind of on my mind right now. And I'm always about being careful with energy, but I've been extra strict this last week. And I notice it's really helping because insomnia is not a time of day thing. Your whole entire day, your whole life, everything can trigger and affect your sleep and your wakefulness. So if something's stressing you out, perhaps you're going to have a hard time falling asleep, and people can drain us or they can boost us. I don't think there's anything in the middle, because we can have people that we think are doing nothing. But think about this: if they're hanging around, they're taking up space that someone really awesome and uplifting could take. So they're actually holding you back. And
That's a great point.
I have someone, I'll give you an example because you need an example. I have someone I've been friends with for several years. We work out once a week or so, but my neck starts hurting whenever I'm around him, because I know that he doesn't like comedy, and I'm very quirky and I always tell jokes and I always like to say funny things. And I can just tell he's like, ugh, whenever I tell a joke. I mean, I'm hosting a comedy show on Saturday, one of the biggest comedy clubs in New York. This is my life. And I'm around someone who clearly is like, ew. So it's not really a good connection. So I kind of thought on that. I'm like, I don't think I should really spend even 1 or 2 hours a week with this person. And I kind of feel lighter. So that's it.
Wow, that's a big it just shows me how much you prioritize your energy and the subject we're talking about is sleep.
Right.
So if you'd rather not have that opportunity based on your energy, that's huge. That's a really good example.
It just drains energy, simply put, to be around certain people where you have to really censor yourself or watch yourself. And you might even feel tight in the neck, the throat chakra, if you feel like you shouldn't say certain things. So that'll drain you, make you tired maybe during the day. And then perhaps what I've noticed, once that person leaves or you leave that person, you might feel free and you get a burst of wakefulness, maybe at the wrong time. So monitor your people. Now we'll jump to the real list. That was just a little side note. I got to get out of the way.
I love it though. Thank you.
Yeah, right. I know you like that one. So avoiding naps longer than 30 minutes. Sometimes naps work. A lot of times you get a nap and you can't sleep at night. So if you can't sleep at night, perhaps just stop sleeping during the day. Finishing cardio and high energy workouts at least 3 hours before bed. Now, for a lot of men, I've noticed they can work out right before bed and then they can go right to sleep. A lot of women seem to not be able to do that. So maybe it's 5 hours before bed, maybe it's 3 hours before bed. A lot of people nowadays are taking pre-workouts. Those are very normalized. They're kind of like I call them legal forms of cocaine. That's obviously hyperbole. But that's a normal thing. And people will take these Red Bulls or some type of uppers at 5 p.m. And hello, it's going to affect your sleep, and it's going to affect your wakefulness, and you're going to get a crappier sleep and have a harder time waking up. Another one is cacao. Cacao, even at 10, 11, 12 in the morning, it's touted as a health food. To me, messes up my sleep. If I take it 2 days in a row, I am really low. I'm talking depressed, like maybe for 2 or 3 or 4 days. I'll even get sick. I'm so run down. So you got to watch.
Really?
I'm very sensitive to that upper for me. And I know a lot of people like,
Because it's a caffeine?
it's not a
Has it?
caffeine though.
No.
It has a theobromine and anandamide and probably other stimulants. I don't think it has caffeine. Chocolate does. Some,
Chocolate. Okay.
but cacao is just like, whoo, I get so up, my eyes dilate, even my vision changes, and I get hot. And it's great to perform because you need that aggression, but the energy comes from somewhere.
That's an excellent tip. I'm going to have to pay attention to that one.
Yes. So if you're having even a teaspoon of cacao and you feel like you're getting agitated or angry or outbursts or annoyed, that's a big one. I went to a psychiatrist for sleep and energy years ago. I learned like 3 things from him. It really wasn't helpful. But one of the things he said, he gets in a fight with his wife every time he has raw chocolate and he'd stop doing it. And I was like, me too. Yeah.
Wow. That's
Cacao can really
big.
mess up your sleep.
Okay. Okay.
Another one, hit the steam room, a hot shower or a hot bath,
Yes.
maybe within 1, 2, or 3 hours before bed. You might even have a hard time if you're really kind of tired getting out of the bed. I almost couldn't stand up one time. Yeah,
Yeah, I've definitely had those moments. And the bath, I love baths anyway. So the bath is a go-to for me, and especially like adding the Epsom salt and the essential oils. I know you mentioned that further down on your document, but those things that's definitely a go-to. But if I don't have time or even sometimes the energy to actually take the bath,
right.
then yeah.
Time,
Mhm.
it could be a time, and then you're spending time in the bath when you should be just getting to sleep. So if you need to get to sleep, maybe don't spend 2 hours in a bath, and time management, everybody. Yeah, the bath, by the way, too, I made the mistake of putting tea tree oil, I believe, in a bath. There was a whole bunch of different oils. One of them burned through my skin. So be very careful putting tea tree oil in your bath. It might give you ulcers on your body. It's another
Wow.
one a lot of people don't know. Maybe just putting in a diffuser. All right.
Hmm.
So here's a weird one. A lot of people say not to eat before bed. Ideally, no, don't. You want to get your organs to rest. However, pros and cons. If I don't need to fall asleep and I'm tired, I will try not to eat before bed. I'll have very, very little, but that doesn't really work for me. And I seem to be able to be very defined and low body fat even when eating before bed. So that's a weird one that's very controversial. The costs for me seem to be lower than the benefits. I will eat some type of carb heavy, lower vibration, lower conductive food. So foods that conduct water are raw foods, raw fruits and vegetables. The conductivity is high, just like a pool. You stand by a pool, it connects energy. If you're having raw food before bed, a lot of people will get an energy boost. So raw fruit and vegetables might not be the best to have before bed. It might work for you. For me, it doesn't. So
It made me think of when you were saying complex carbs, how we say carbs are comfort food. And so comfort, bed, snuggly. So
mhm.
I kind of associate that. That's how I'll remember that too.
Yeah, yeah. Rice is not just for me. It's in studies. I tell almost every client, everybody this. It's proven to help you fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer. Rice is grounding. So white rice, brown rice,
That's what I was going to ask. Okay.
either one seems to work, and it can just be half a cup. I'll find that maybe if I'm super dieting, when you're super dieting, especially in the summer, I do more raw foods. I am like really up in July. I am like on fire in July. And I've even had people walk into my house, and my ex-boyfriend went to my house. He said, I can feel your energy. You're so, I'm like, whoa. So I need something to just knock me down. And that serotonin flooding you will help. But so if you add protein to your carbs, it's not going to have the same effect. So having like a little bit of chicken with your rice at night, not the same, but just straight up rice, maybe a little butter if you want it, a little salt.
Good to know.
Good
I
night.
love liver.
Potatoes, not as strong as rice. Popcorn too. But
I
popcorn.
was going to ask you about that. Actual popcorn versus the rice cakes you have listed.
Okay, so rice cakes seem to help. I've been really up, had one rice cake and it helped to knock me down for years. I've been doing that.
Mm.
Rice too, but I feel like I'm trying to have more hydrated food. So rice just I feel less dry mouth when I wake up. I feel healthier, more vital. Whereas the rice cake, I can feel more groggy, like a little bit of a hangover.
Mm.
Popcorn seems to knock me out too. And I've had multiple people tell me this one. I had a meeting one time, I was slurring my words. So popcorn, if you got to get up and speak, as soon as you wake up, watch out with that popcorn at night.
Wow. I have gone away from popcorn, but that was my go-to for
Okay.
a long time. And I've been craving it because I have been actually having some difficulty sleeping. I
Um,
think mine is more hormonal, but nonetheless, I think that I'm going to go back to that.
and how come
That's,
you dropped off popcorn? Just curious. Quick question on
say it
that.
again.
How come you cut popcorn out? I'm just curious.
Um, I was just thinking the carbs is I'm just eating too much or,
Yeah.
because it's a snacky food and
Mhm.
so I might be eating too much. I guess if I can limit myself,
Yeah.
what would you say like a cup?
I mean,
Is
for me,
that
I would say popcorn is more of a treat food, or like I treat it like a sleeping pill, or I treat it like a treat food. I almost bought some at the store yesterday. One, you can make your own. It's cheaper. Pandemic.
that's what I do.
I don't get my nails done either. I'm really watching the funds. I'm really watching money. So you can make your own. Two, the nutritional benefits and the conductivity and all. It's not that it doesn't really give you much aside from me, other than sleep and taste satisfaction, which are two important things in life. So
Yeah. So
that's
question though, how
mhm.
are you air popping or are you actually using okay, yeah, I don't have an
Yeah,
air popper. I
not
think
the
that was part of
microwave.
it too. Yeah.
Or I'll get like a bag, I'll get a bag at the store if I'm really lazy sometimes. I like skinny pop, but it's hard
Yeah.
not to eat the whole bag and then I wake up like I can't see straight. But if you need a night where you need to go into a sleep coma, I need to do that maybe 1, 2 nights a week just to like a vampire, just good night, goodbye world, popcorn and lots of rice and cheese will do that. Now that's another controversial because cheese, as you probably know, has casomorphine. Cheese has a
Mm,
natural form of morphine. I was
mm.
uh, truth bomb. I guess one of my biggest vices would be I definitely had way too much cheese in the last year and a half, way too much, but it makes you sleep magically for me.
Mm,
You
okay.
pick up
I love butter. I mean, is there any
butter, you said?
yeah, butter.
Butter doesn't seem to knock me out the way cheese does.
Okay.
Cheese will actually have a hard time getting off of this couch right behind me and walking like
Mm,
15 feet to my bedroom. Like
mhm.
and I'll get this fuzzy feeling. It's like a morphine-like feeling.
So let me ask you
Yeah,
this. So in terms of cheese, because I'm sure somebody who's gonna think about this question,
right.
is there any specific cheese because some have more fat or whatever the
Right.
ingredients is? Um,
You know what? I'm not really an expert on cheese for sleep, but I'll tell you this. I like Munster, I like Colby, I like pepper jack and feta. They've all worked to help me go to sleep. So with that rice
okay.
and cheese combo, it's really like lights out and it helps me. I sleep through the night. I feel
Okay.
great. But if
I
you want
love
to
feta.
sleep for 4 or 5 hours, let's say you have to get up for something, very early in the morning, and you're giving yourself 5 hours,
Mm.
the whole eating before bed thing's not great because you're going to spend a lot of that time digesting and not repairing tissues and you're going to wake up not feeling good. So only do the eating before bed if you can really give yourself a lot of time, which leads me,
Oh, good to know.
yeah, you want to give yourself that time to really digest and kind of sleep through that. You seem to sleep more when you eat before bed. That's what I found.
Mhm. Okay. Mhm.
Yeah, and I find that I need to sleep less, and a lot of people say the same, if I'm on an all raw food diet. Now, the question with that is, can you actually get to sleep if I'm on a raw food diet? Is that going to work?
Mhm.
A lot of times, no, I'm too buzzed, and that's where the carbs come in for me because I'm way too buzzed. But if you're on that raw food diet, and a lot of times you won't need as much sleep. You can use 4, 5, 6 hours because you're just high
I
vibing.
don't think, Jen, I have ever been good on 4 or 5, 6 hours.
Me neither. A few times in my life, a few times there's prayer involved, and that's weird.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it's like, but actually, the men in my dad and his dad, they can do 4 hours, and there's a few people I
I
know.
noticed that.
There's a few people
Interesting.
that can do it. Like 1%, I think, of the population could do 4 hours.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Yep.
Right.
There's other things I can put in writing. There's before bed things like a less potent of the rice and potatoes and cheese thing would be peas. Peas also
Mm,
helps you get a little sleepy. And I'll move on
mm,
from the food. I'm gonna go to the next one. Avoiding alcohol, 100%. Even a glass of wine. Some people feel fine. Many people do not.
mhm, mhm. I learned that probably a couple years ago,
Okay.
but it was more than a glass. And I started paying attention to that if I have two, but typically I'm okay with one. But I feel like that's changing again with just this whole new segment of my life. So I'm having to recalibrate some
Yeah.
of those things. So,
Yeah, everyone's different with the wine one. That's like all over the board. Everyone,
mhm,
I get actually wired and energized and excited, and then I can't sleep, and it's horrible. So no.
mm.
Tart cherry juice, that's another supplement on the list. Tart cherry juice, it has melatonin in it.
Yeah, I saw that and I did try that. I was actually at my sister's when I tried this, but I didn't try it long enough
Mhm.
so that I could see if it actually was working for me. I feel like it definitely helped with the calmness, but I couldn't tell you specifically how if it helped a deep sleep or just fall asleep.
Same.
So,
Yeah,
mm,
I should do a test on the cherry, maybe like every other day. I have a calendar. Maybe that would do that.
mm,
And
yeah.
magnesium will be another one. You could take a pill, but before taking pills, I always like to recommend real food. So we get the leafy greens during the day. We could have leafy greens at dinner or midday. I'll usually do that, not before bed. Doesn't really work for me. Although some people, odd trick, they say romaine lettuce and leafy greens before bed helps. So that's I'm not sure about that one. But magnesium, there's a chia pudding, which is very popular. It's in my guidebook too, chia seeds and water, or you can make the whole chia pudding, which is not very hard. It has magnesium and omegas, and that can help you fall asleep, especially if you're dieting and restricting calories. You'll get your essential fats, you get your magnesium for the day, and it'll help to relax your nerves. Very important. Yeah.
I
And
like that one. I didn't realize that that would be, so I really was excited when I saw that on your list.
You're
it's
just talking about regular chia seeds?
Yeah, regular chia seeds, and there's a simple recipe, so I could send that out too. It's super easy. It takes maybe 30 minutes or 20 minutes for it to solidify. That's actually very helped me when I really was dieting down in the summer. I'd have a little bit of avocado, maybe a third or
Ooh.
half,
Mm.
and some chia pudding. It's low carb, so if you're following the whole keto thing and not spiking insulin, that's pretty cool. And it definitely did help with sleep. So if you wake up in the middle of the night, that's another trick that can help. Cottage cheese too is a weird one. If you wake up in
Oh
the
my
I
gosh. I
love
love
cottage
cottage
cheese.
cheese.
so that's another everything is controversial because everything is pros and cons,
No, I
right?
know, but it's funny because it just reminding me it's just taking me back. I've had insomnia since I was a kid.
Hmm.
So I've been trying everything that you pretty much said, I've probably tried,
Hmm.
and then some of the things do work, but then I forget about it
You got to do them
because
all.
I feel like my body, like you're saying, different times of the year, you kind of need different things. And
Yeah.
as kind of understanding myself, I'm starting to understand that. Like,
Hmm.
oh, okay, so different things are going to work different for me, different times of the year, you
Hmm.
know,
Yes,
whatever.
like summer, I'm a different animal. In winter, I treat myself much differently, but I used to treat myself like the same person season, and it's like that doesn't work. For most people, it doesn't really work. Um, But the cottage cheese has casein. So casein's linked to cancer, it's linked to tumor growth. A lot of people say no casein. Then bodybuilders have cottage cheese because it helps with prevent muscle breakdown, helps you actually build muscles. So I think it's an anti-catabolic actually. And also it has a little bit of that casomorphine in it. So for me, it helps. When I know that when I'm really dropping fat, this always happens, and with a lot of people too, and especially if you're getting into bodybuilding or extreme fitness, you'll probably wake up after 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. You might feel starving, hungry. That's a common thing. So the cottage cheese thing, a little protein, even a little oatmeal in the middle of the night, if you really need to knock out, that's another one. Interesting. Yeah, that midnight meal if you're for bodybuilders out there.
Well, I make oatmeal like for 3 days at a time.
Oh,
So it's good to know I can just go down and take a couple bites and then go
bites.
back to sleep.
A couple of bites is not going to put weight on you. If we're not drinking alcohol and we're not having chips and all this candy, and I save all of my carbs for the night times, I use my carbs as a sleeping pill. I'm not going to put on weight because all the carbs are all together. That's all. As long as you have a healthy weight balance. If you're trying to be size 000, which is silly, then okay, different story. But this isn't for you. This is not for that.
I
Um,
love it. Love it.
Next one is 1 to 3 hours before bed. If you really want a relaxation day, maybe 5, 6 hours before bed. Commit to relaxation time, which means no real conversations through text. Even a fun conversation. It may be a fun little back and forth that is not going to get into any type of drama or even planning. I'm planning all these events this week. I'm not going to engage with any of these producers because it's going to get into work mode after a certain time. That's it. They'll be there when I wake up. They'll be there when you wake up.
So what's your typical cutoff time for your relaxation?
Well, because I have a strange schedule. Like I'm hosting
Okay.
a comedy show 9:30 Thursday, 8 o'clock Saturday.
Okay.
My schedules vary all over, but if it's like Sunday, I didn't have anything Sunday night. I probably cut myself off around 4 or 5. I said, you know what? We're chilling. We're not doing anything too focused. It's me time. Just relax, go into your own zone, clean if you want, watch TV if you want, whatever you want.
So are you saying like 2 hours, 1 hour? What have you found for you and your clients that works? What's
The
the
average
average?
person who's working, it's not pandemic, probably 1, 2, or 3 hours is the most sane. But you got to adapt with different days. Now, some people, after a while, you can adapt and do this adaptation with each day, which I do. Every day is different, but that's a little chaotic. Most people, the recommended uh, suggestion is to go to sleep at the same time, wake at the same time. But maybe we have a range, like a 3 hour range, 3 hour wake time, 3 hour rest time. It depends on your schedule.
I love that because most people's lives aren't consistent like that. It's not so rigid. And especially as entrepreneurs,
No,
it changes.
yeah.
So yeah, that's really good to know just from, your expert opinion.
I mean, I'm also basically a comedian giving sleep tips, and comedians are known stereotypically to have late night crazy hours. So this whole thing is ironic, but merging comedy life and crazy rambunctiousness with fitness. So the next one would be,
I think it's about the sleep. It's not about what time of day. And maybe people get caught up in that. And I
yeah,
think that you being a comedian giving sleep tips is perfect because you're not on a typical 9 to 5,
no,
something schedule. So it's really about sleep, which is important whenever it is, because there are people that are on third shift that are sleeping during the time when,
true,
when the sun is up.
true.
And they're trying to figure out how the rest of the world is like bustling around them and trying to figure out ways to, help them
Right.
do that. So
Actually, two of my clients, one is an overnight shift, another works in a jail, crazy hours. But I will tell you this, it is about time a little, even though I'm not like a sleep Nazi I will tell you, and I read this somewhere, heard this a few times, and I played around with this concept for the last maybe 7 years, and I found it to be true. Every time I go to sleep after 12, it seems that the sleep quality and the mood I wake up is lower. So for me, it's a mad dash to try to get into bed, ideally in the 10s or 11s, but before 12. And after 12:30, it's like I can make it work. After 12:30, that's it. I start getting more likely to get sick, waking up feeling tired, waking up feeling depressed. So that 12:30 for a lot of people, I've heard for every hour after 12 that your sleep quality goes down. So that's really rough news for people doing overnights.
I have found that my entire life, and I just recently read something about the sleep quality before 12.
Mhm.
So between 9 and 12, actually, it allows it was the plasticity in your brain when you're in, well, when you're energetically releasing stuff, when
Mhm.
you're learning stuff, to embody that and to allow your brain that deep sleep for plasticity before
Mhm.
12. So again, I mean, I agree with you, Jen, too, and Shannon. I mean, it's we have to like figure out what works for us
Mhm.
Oh,
ultimately.
I agree.
You
Like
can't
even
quit
with
your overnight job.
no, with Gent too, because I found the same thing. Like it just kind of depends. I find that if I don't get to sleep, because if I do get to sleep before, here's the other thing for me. If I do get to sleep before that, if I'm asleep by 9:30, I'm definitely more than likely waking up around 2 or 3.
Before what time you wake up? Before
If
9?
if I'm in bed by 9:30, like I'm tired, I'm ready to go to sleep,
Yeah,
and I'm like,
yeah,
yeah, okay. Then I usually wake up around 2 or 3 in the morning. So
yep,
it's like if I push it, I'm trying to, at least wake up at like 5. If I'm going to bed
right.
at like 11, or
So
closer to midnight, I'm trying to like
if you
push it.
sleep in the 10s, does that happen? Waking up at 2?
If I fall asleep in the tent, sometimes,
Sometimes, right?
yeah, for the most part, I'm I'm I don't have solid sleep. So no matter what, I'm gonna be up in that out sometime in the 2 to 3,
Right.
4 hour. Even if I go to sleep at 1, I'll be like, oh, okay. And then I'll wake up. It's like 4 o'clock. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that waking up after 4 hours is a common thing. This is a weird one too. Um, Praying, if you wake up in the middle of the night, I've done this. I played around with this since 2017. That I was told by different people, and I was like, all right, you know what, let's just try it. I can't lose anything. That I get information and messages and clues from different energies I wake up and it wakes you up. So a lot of different psychics or intuitives advice is to actually, before you go to bed, pray for a good night's sleep. I did this by accident one night, and I prayed to wake up feeling excited, and I woke up excited, and I slept the least I've ever slept. And every single time I've done it unanimously,
That's
maybe
so funny.
it always works.
Yeah,
It's 30
it
times,
does.
never failed.
I
So,
forget.
like,
I forget. Yeah.
it's a weird one, but and you can say, please do not give me information now. Please let me rest until I know a psychic that does this. He's well known. He does this professionally. He says, okay, after I think it's around 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, you can come in, but like not right now. Like, please not now.
I never thought of that because we're in control of our energy even when it comes to our guides. You know,
Right.
we can ask
Mhm.
for different things. Oh, that's
Like, thank you so much. I love the information, but I really
yes.
sleep or I'm gonna fall apart. Can you please wait till like 7:30 or 5 or whatever it is? And every single time it works, which is wild. Yeah. Another one, instead of worrying, taking action steps daily. So instead of worrying, actually do stuff, because there's a balance. The cognitive behavioral therapy is the suggested treatment, and then the benzos. So we can take pills and talk about stuff all day, but perhaps actually getting things done. That's a big focus for me. It's like do, 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 do. The more we do, the more we get closer to our goals. And the less the things that bother us are going to bother us. Because I've all these people reach out. If you ever want to vent, you want to talk, and it's like, you know what? Yes, there's a few moments in the day for that, for sure. But I actually take any time that maybe I would spend venting and talking, and let's just put it towards building what I want. And now what I want gets clearer and closer, and it's happening. And that's going to kind of crowd out the things I don't want. So,
When I think that is very powerful what you're saying because I have been learning and testing this out.
mm,
So when I have an idea or when I'm working on a project, instead of being excited and sharing like all of the details or, just kind of just talking about it,
mhm,
I've noticed that I can allow myself to harness the energy within me more so that I can maintain more focus on what I need to do. So I didn't think about necessarily, I know writing is hugely beneficial, but
mhm.
I haven't been doing it for the purpose of getting it out of my, I don't know, it just made a different impression the way that you were saying it. So
Well, basically, I'm just more focused since June, really. on less talking, less chit-chatting, less planning, more doing. So if I have these 20 goals in this month, just do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. Work on doing it, talk about doing it, not talking about this thing's wrong, this thing's wrong, this thing's wrong, unless we're going to work on a solution. And what I've noticed is, I produced a movie on Saturday. We shot the whole movie. We did it. That's so cool. Now I can celebrate that. Unless if I spent 2 hours talking about, this person's sick and this is sick. And it's like, you know what? I acknowledge that. We can talk about it briefly, but it's super limited. Let's build stuff instead. And then we have all these things built. You have these buildings, and it makes the bad things just less important.
Yeah,
So
good stuff.
yeah, so that's another one. Just doing. Action is a big remedy to not having. You don't have something that you want, well, just do whatever you can. Do it. Even during pandemic, we can all do something. So that helps a lot. And writing down the concerns, maybe in a journal, speaking open to someone you trust, who's paid or not paid, anyone that can sort of get it, even your dog, if even that helps sometimes. Unplugging, we talked about that. Unplugging the computers. This light in front of me is going to go off the second we're done. No more bright light, only dim light, and less go, because in the morning it'll be there. And then I notice I'm more likely to wake up like, whoa, if I'm more shh at a certain time. Because I go, I'm not here right now. Can I wake up and then I'm here? Okay. Thinking positive and comforting thoughts that help you relax you. So sometimes my dog she's like a big stuffed animal, but she's alive. So I notice if I start thinking about human issues, like I'm nervous for this comedy show Saturday, I'm nervous for this, stand-up's very scary, even for professionals. I'll think of my dog, and that helps. So thinking of just pure, positive, cuddly thoughts, if you see your thoughts meandering, really can help. Or even having a real stuffed animal. No shame in that. No shame in that. Mine are on my shelf. They're not in my bed. I don't want to throw them out. Let's see. Preparing your breakfast, lunch, your work, and your clothing the day before.
Shannon, I don't think Jen saw it.
Oh, I can't see her video.
Oh, wait.
If she starts
Is,
talking, I think
is
she'll.
that,
Okay.
can you see it now?
Oh yeah, there we go. Oh, so cute. So cute. That's so cute.
So we have a few more minutes. Jen, if you can tell us maybe the last three.
Yeah, let's do last three.
You wanna-
Last three. Stretching. If your body's tight, your mind's going to be tight. 5-minute stretch before bed. Ideally after a walk or movement or being warmed up, or a hot bath. If you were very sedentary, hot shower, get things warmed up. ASMR is a weird one. That's only going to work for about 40-50% of the population. But watching ASMR videos with dim lighting, that sound, it can trigger extreme relaxation. Diffusing essential oils, lavender, a few drops lavender on the feet, lavender vetiver work for people. I've heard really good things.
love vetiver. Oh, it's like my favorite.
Helps you fall asleep.
Yeah, it helps me
Okay.
calm down, very grounding.
Okay. Yeah, I just was reminded that having a sleep buddy, whether someone that lives with you or maybe it's
I
not.
saw that.
Yeah, maybe it's not someone that lives with you. My boyfriend lived with me. That was my sleep buddy. But maybe you have other friends that are reinforcing your sleep habits, and you together from a distance can be like, okay, good night. We're going to wind down. We're going to eat healthy food. We're going to do something nice. And you can connect on that.
We're going to get some
again,
rice and feta.
right? Prayer again, praying, can I please have a great night's sleep? Wake up relaxed. Please saying thank you before bed, setting that intention out loud, ideally. It's a weird one. And blackout blinds are a must. That's when if you can't install blackout blinds, I have this method where I put a t-shirt. I can't do it with this shirt. I'm not wearing it underneath, but if I had a t-shirt, I should have done that for demo. You put a t-shirt and you put it so it's over your eyes, not your nose. And it actually can work like blackout blinds. So if you don't have blackout blinds installed, you put that t-shirt over your head. I've done this with a few guests that stayed at my house, and it blacks out the light.
Yeah, it totally works. It totally works.
You get that t-shirt over your head with
Yeah,
the
it
fan.
totally works.
Yep, very important.
Yeah.
Earplugs. I use
Yeah.
earplugs.
Earplugs work. Except for me, sometimes my ears hurt. Like I can't use them consecutively. But
Yeah.
when I know I really need to get some sleep, I'll be like, all right.
There's certain soft ones that are better, or you can use a certain, there's like one side that's like less, I've noticed. So there's certain ones that can work without doing that. But yeah, ideally it can cause some, ENT problems. You want to watch that. Mhm.
Yeah. But it is nice though.
Heavy blankets. The last one would be, I guess, heavy blankets, not wearing too much clothing, maybe having a window cracked if you can with a little bit, and having you could, if you can, you could put your heats on a timer or have some clothing right in your bed or in a drawer by your bed, so you don't even have to, like if you know that you have to get out in the cold, you're less likely going to want to get out of bed. But if you have some nice toasty robes or clothing in your bed or right next to you, you can put on while in bed, the mornings are going to be a little less rough, and you'll know that. So maybe you'll be more likely to get out of bed with a little spring in your step. So I'll leave it at that. There's a huge
Well,
list.
you're in New York, so I'm sure that comes up a lot for you.
Yes. Yes.
Jen, thank
That
you
comes
so
up for
much.
me in
Oh, right.
Minnesota too.
You're in
Dude,
Minnesota.
I all toasty have to get up in the morning or have to go to the bathroom and be like mad.
Oh my God.
I put my heating pad. I have a heating pad and I'll just turn that on. So,
Oh,
and then put my blankets over so that when I come back in bed, it's all warm.
what's the
Oh,
temperature?
right. Oh, let's see. I don't know. Right now it's okay, but
Like 20 now?
let's see. What is it here? What is it? It's 30 degrees right now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's cool.
It's
42.
Lukewarm.
It says 30. So yeah, it gets cold. But I don't care. I still have the window cracked and I still have the fan on. Instead of it being like on a higher speed, it's on the lowest setting.
I'm doing the same thing tonight.
Yeah, I enjoy keeping the window cracked.
Mhm.
That airflow is really good. Even in the cold, I'll have the heat on and the window cracked. Seems like an oxymoron. Why would you have the,
So weird.
but yeah, or the fan on, sometimes just for white noise, but also the air circulation.
But also, eat before bed, you might get hot. Do not do fish before bed or too much protein, because I notice my body heats up. It's a thermogenic response. So you're really going to need that fan if you're eating before bed, because you're warming up.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're not even going to talk about hot flashes. I don't even really call them hot flashes because I'm in this space where I am using less labels.
Okay.
So I'm giving it less energy, less focus. But
Whoosh.
yes. Exactly. Jen, this has been so good.
Yay. Good.
I am gonna
Yes,
get this
very
out.
good.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. And I love that you talked about the stretching because yoga is my thing. So just even a brief, couple of flows, breathing, it's helpful.
Mhm.
Just ground a little bit and just reduce your heart rate and
Ooh.
all that good
Did you guys talk about that?
No.
She mentioned just stretching in general.
No, I mean the breathing because I left for a minute and I didn't get to hear. Did you guys
We
talk
didn't
about breathing?
we didn't go over breathing.
Because you were talking about like a quick way to go to sleep, and I know there's like a rhythm. I can't remember it's 7-4-8 or 8 or
Yeah.
something where
There's
you're
a
breathing
few.
in and then you're holding it and then
Like 7 and 7,
Yeah.
sometimes 7 counts in, hold it.
yeah, something.
That's a popular one. Yeah. I'll do the stretching because I'll get back pain if I don't stretch. So I
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
stretch 2 or 3 minutes or I'm waking up convulsing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
that'll be another one.
Wow.
Very cool.
Well, awesome. I really appreciate it. I've actually learned some things.
Nice.
So
It is weird.
I love that.
All over the place.
Yeah.
I like it.
No, we did good. We were,
Yeah, no, it was really good. It was all the things that you need to, a lot of different options and things and maybe different ways of processing the knowledge, you know what I mean? Because you know,
Right.
when you have different pieces, it kind of helps a little bit more, because I didn't think about the water. I was just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna be healthy. I'm not gonna have like carbs, those kind of carbs before bed. I'm gonna have
Yeah.
like
If I didn't have
vegetables.
those carbs before bed, I wouldn't be sleeping the last few years. Like those carbs
Right.
saved my life. There's a whole book
Yeah.
called Potatoes Not Prozac, a whole
I
book.
love that.
Oh my gosh. See,
Wow.
And
Okay.
people
I
are
mean, because
afraid
where
of
do they get, really, where do pharmaceuticals come from though? They come from nature. They're synthesizing things in nature. So if we can eat them or drink them
right.
or smell them or rub them,
Yeah, yeah, there's
So Jen, just on the, oh, sorry. Say it again.
what?
Repeat what you just said, Jen.
um,
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say, just let everyone know where they can follow you.
okay.
I know you're doing a lot of filming and stuff like that, but nonetheless, where can we support you and whatever you're doing?
The quickest would just be Facebook, Jennalise Feldy, unless that gets banned, and YouTube, Jennalise Feldy, Instagram, Jennalise at Life with Genergy. I put everything all together, IMDb. I try to keep a list of everything. There's a show list this week on my Facebook for different comedy events. This is the only health event this week. So that's it. You're the only one.
Nice.
All right. Well, I
Awesome.
appreciate it. All right, Jen. Thank you, Shannon,
Thank you guys
for
to meet you.
joining, and
Yeah.
I'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Bye.